I'm Rosemary Bartell, and I live in the city of Chilton, Wisconsin. Exactly 3 years ago to yesterday, the knee started, and I went in for a routine, what I considered a routine knee replacement. I went in to get the stitches out after 10 days, and right after I got the stitches out, it started having problems. I started having drainage. I called the doctor, and he said, come right in, and I got in there, and he said, I've got a window of 24 hours to clean this out, or we're in real big trouble. So he went in that afternoon and washed it out and put all new plastic in, thinking he got ahead of the game. And basically the next morning I had him and the infectious disease doctor in my room telling me that they're hoping I dodged a big bullet, but this was MRSA and it was pretty extensive already. It had gotten into all of the joints that had been put in, and they were hoping it had not gotten into the bone. They replaced it with the new parts. It never healed. So after about 6 months, they decided to take it out and put plastic in. The temporary joint never healed. They went back and forth back. I had 3 times the regular joint put in, the other one taken out, back and forth. About a year ago, they said to me, we're out of options. We can't do anything. We're going to have to fuse it. So they fused it. By this point, they had taken so much of my bone, my femur and my tibia, that taking out the knee and fusing it caused me a 3-inch loss on this leg. This leg was 3 inches shorter than my left leg. Couldn't bend the knee, and again, nothing healed. I went a whole year from June to June and no healing. And so in June, they basically said to me, there's only one option left, and that's amputation. And the only reason they wanted to amputate was at this point, my bone marrow has taken a real hit. So basically, if they didn't do something now, I was going to have other major problems. So when he took off the leg, he found that the whole bone was infected, and it would have never healed. And the infection had gone from the top of my leg, right below the hip, almost to the bottom. You hear about people, getting infections in their joints after they have surgeries, but this was my 5th joint replacement. So I wasn't at all concerned. I had a total shoulder, both hips, the other knee 6 weeks before with the same surgeon. So I had no fear. To me, it was routine. I was going to have this done, and 2 weeks later, I was going to be back to work, and I was fine. And, I did not expect this to happen to me. The day that the doctor stood in my room, the infectious disease doctor, and said, you have, probably a 30% chance of surviving, it was very scary. And, you hear the word MRSA, you hear about this infection, but people don't know about it. And people don't know how it changes somebody's life. When you're in the hospital, nurses say, oh, we all probably have it, it just hasn't affected us. And it's probably true, but it's not something people know about, and they don't realize how much it can devastate your life. I cannot walk at this point because I have an amputated leg, and because they had it amputated so short, there's no guarantee I'm going to get a prosthesis. And even at this point, I have to have a vac on this leg because the infection there's still some infection in there, and they're trying to clean that up. So at least 2 months yet before it may even heal well enough to even consider a prosthesis. My surgeon is saying to me, don't count on it. We couldn't stay living in the home we were living in because the doorways weren't wide enough, the rooms weren't big enough to move around in, so we had to move. It affected us financially. It caused us to make decisions in our life that we would have never made at this time in our life. We went from owning a home to renting because we had to look at expenses. People say you're one illness away from bankruptcy. Well, that's pretty true. That's pretty true when you have something devastating happen to you and it lasts for 3 years or more. I'm a very independent woman. I mean, I wouldn't let other people drive because I was the driver, other than when he went along. It was Rosie had her good car and she drove. I don't like waiting for people. I never liked being on somebody else's time scale. And now I'm completely dependent on them. I mean, basically, I can't get in and out of bed without him. I can't get off and on the toilet without him. I can't do anything. Plus, his life has changed so much. I mean, he's got if he's going to go somewhere, he has to make a plan for me. He went fishing on Saturday, and my granddaughter came and stayed with me just in case I needed to get somewhere. Plus, it's frustrating. I mean, for 3 years, I feel like I'm a burden almost to him, because I know he loves me and I love him, and we've gotten closer through this. But yet, it's really hard to always be the person who needs the help.